Good morning, students. Today we will study the topic of characteristic of population. I have told you that on the basis of population, various types of schemes are made in the government, different type of plannings are made, that how much the population is there in that particular area, state, country, so that matters very much. So there are the various type of characteristics on the basis of which we study the population. So there are the main 5 characteristics, or you can say 6. So first is the population size and density, the population dispersion, age structure, natality, mortality, biotic potential and the carrying capacity. We will discuss them one by one. So population size and density is expressed as a number of individuals in a population. Population density we can calculate by the individuals of a species per unit area or volume, where the number of individuals in a region are divided by the number of unit areas in that region. So on the basis of that, we can say that there are 1000 people living in that area or 5000 living in that area. Depending upon that, we can decide how much population density is that in that. Obviously, the big cities and metro cities, this population density is very much as compared to the villages. So then is the population dispersion. It is a spatial pattern of the individuals in a population relative to one another. How they are dispersed, how they are distributed. So there can be of 3 types: regular, random and the clump. We call it is a regular dispersion when the individuals are having the spaces more or less at equal distance from each other. Suppose you can say there are the 5 individuals or the 10 individuals, they are having almost 1 meter or 1.5 meter distance between one another. So then we call it as it is a regular type of dispersion. Now random dispersion is that when the position of the individual is unrelated to the position of its neighbor. You cannot say that there are 5 people living here and at what distance the another 5 or the 10 will be living. There is no prediction. So in that there is no relation. We call it as a random dispersion. Then there is a clump dispersion. Here the individuals are aggregated into patches and interspersed with no a few individuals. Suppose there are 10 people living in that particular area. After that, at a kilometer, 1 kilometer distance or 2 kilometer, again there are 5. Suppose at some other distance there are again 10. So there is a clumping of the individuals. So there may be no individuals in between that distance. Then comes the age structure. The proportion of the individuals in each age group is called age structure of that population. So what age are the different type of individuals in that area? So from the ratio of various age groups, we can determine the current reproductive status of the population, and we can predict its future. So in that case, we can say that population can be divided into 3 groups: pre-reproductive, reproductive and the post-reproductive. Pre-reproductive obviously, which is you can say almost up to the 16 to 18 years, then reproductive from the 18 to 45 years or 50 years, and the post-reproductive after 50 years. So then there are the age pyramids. Age pyramids are the models in which we geometrically represent the different age groups. So according to the worker Bodenhamer, who was there in 1938, he stated that there are 3 basic types of, as you can see in the diagram. So on the basis of that, we can say that the population is declining, it is stable, or it is young population. If it is pre-reproductive, it is the young population is obviously more. Then there is a reproductive population, and then there is post-reproductive. So in that type of triangle with a broad base, we can say that it is an expanding population. As we can say in case of India, we are having more individuals in the pre-reproductive population. So this age group is more, that is why we call it as it is a expanding population. Then pyramid is bell shaped, having equal number of young and middle age. So it is almost stable population. Then comes the unturned, unshaped, structure which is showing the declining population, having the higher death rate than the birth rate. So in that case, you can say the population is comparatively decreasing or declining. In some of the European countries it is there. So another characteristic is the birth rate or natality. Here the number of births per 1000 individuals of a population per year under the ideal condition. Ideal conditions you can say when there is no natural calamity, there is no disaster, there is no disease outbreak. So in that case, normally how much number of births will take place? 1000 per 1000 individuals. By this we can calculate the birth rate. So the rate at which the female is producing offspring, it is depending upon the three type of characteristics. Clutch size of the number of young produced on each equation, that you can say not in case of human beings, in animals also. If in one time there are 2 or 3 babies which are taking birth, so on that, depending upon that, we can decide that how much is the birth rate. Then the time between the one reproductive event and the next. What is the age difference between the two, you can say, children or the two deliveries? And the age of the first reproduction. At what age the first reproduction started in that female. So it usually increases with the period of maturity and then it falls as the organisms will increase in their age. So in India, it is again, it is, you can say, per female, it is 2.8 I think at present. So then the mortality is the number of deaths per 1000 individuals of a population per year, again under ideal conditions, in the normal conditions. So how much is the death rate? So on the basis of that, we can calculate the Widal index, that is the natality upon mortality into 100. Obviously, when the mortality is less and the natality is more, that means the population is increasing. Now comes the biotic potential. It was the term which was given by the Chapman. So it is an inherent capacity of a population to increase under optimal environmental conditions. It is represented by the small r. Here we can calculate by the multiple of the number of youngs produced at each reproduction and the number of reproductions in a given period. So both we have discussed earlier that how many youngs are there in one delivery and how many reproductions are there in one life cycle of a individuals. So it is about 12 in reproductive age. So there can be maximum, it is estimated there can be maximum 12 deliveries in one reproductive age. So now is the carrying capacity, which is the upper asymptote, we also say. That what is the feeding capacity of an environment. It is not there that how much number of individuals are increasing and the environment is not supporting. There may be adverse conditions in case of space, shelter, for the, you can say, food. So the carrying capacity is also, you can say, certain limit up to which the environment can support a population. So we represent it by the K. It is the limit beyond which no major increase can occur. The maximum limit has increased. So in the for the humans, it is on the earth is 8 to 15 billions. And you know we have, the human beings are, we have already crossed 8 billion. The human population has already crossed 8 billion. So that is why overpopulation is now a serious issue in the world. So that's all, students, for today.